Second position, the Valley Boys. The winner with 5,090 points, One Family.
We won, and it was a surprise, because we had felt like we had won a few times and we got quote-unquote robbed. And this morning we did actually win, right? And I said, yeah, okay. So I still wasn't convinced that we were there yet.
One Family would tally a few second and third place finishes in the years following their first win in 1996. But there were a few hindrances, in particular preventing them from reaching the heights they know they could. The first would be difficult to overcome.
After a series of disappointing finishes, the new One Family Junkanoo group came to Bay Street with a revamped formula that was good enough to win a second-place overall prize. The group made an impressive showing, capturing the first and second prizes in the off-the-shoulder category, second in the choreographed dancer category, and first for best banner. And if there were a prize on Bay Street for most improved group, chances are they would have won that too. Leader Jackson Burnside acknowledges that the second-place finish rejuvenated the spirits of One Family members, but he says they expected even more.
We were pleased with the second place. We weren't satisfied, though, with the second place. Obviously, we felt that our performance and our production was worthy of the first place. There's no question about it. We felt that the majority of our competitors agreed with us and felt the same way. We were told by Saxons, Valley, Roots, Barabbas, that our performance, our production was first class and it deserved the first place. So we came away from the parade with that expectation, and we were surprised to find that we ended up in second place.
The others seemed as simple as asking.
Burnside pledges that One Family will keep coming back and keep throwing blows on the larger groups until the time comes when it actually breaks through. He is also hopeful that the group's dazzling performance on Boxing Day will open the door to stable sponsorship.
It's been a real challenge, and we surely we'd like to have a major sponsor, a major corporate sponsor, like a Shell Bahamas, who would make a commitment for 10 years and say, look, you guys just have to go out there and be creative, make things happen, and we'll provide the financial resources for you to deliver what you have to. We'll be able to guarantee a whole lot of first places if we have that kind of backup.
But there was one addition in particular that would take One Family over the top and solidify them as a force to be reckoned with for many years to come. But the way it happened was kind of a funny story.
When the Knicks can win the NBA ring, and they decide, well, the way to win the NBA ring is to go out and you get a Jordan. So we went out and we got some Jordans. We got a number of Jordans in a number of different key and strategic areas. And we've applied that, and we put the discipline in place, and we will blow you away. You will hear the best rhythm on Bay Street.
We had an injection of new blood, and that was in the form of Non and the Border Boys from Hay Street.
Rory was very instrumental in the community, being a CID officer. At that time, he was Rory Saunders. If he wants you, he come there and leave a message, tell you meet him at the station. I
had a meeting with Non. They weren't rushing for One Family, and I had a meeting with them, and I don't know, somewhere in the meeting, and I don't remember how it came up, but I told them, stop beating people and come beat drum.
At the end of the day, we had to either do one of the two. You can sleep in the cell, or you can beat drum at One Family. So we chose that we're gonna beat drum at One Family.
And that became, there was a newspaper article on it. I don't know who told, it better date, but that was a newspaper article.
And coming up next, we have One Family. They are promising to deliver the first...
When we carried the Big Africa Boxing Day morning, and 6 packs was a major part of the contribution of those off-the-shoulder dancers, and we had these pieces that were just extraordinary. The bellows were ticking, the music was ticking, the moment we got to Bay Street, before we kicked off, we always saw other group members on the side of the road, and they would always be, you know, doing that at us, you know. And this morning I noticed they weren't doing that at us. And, you know, in years past, when we would kick off, they would, you know, like, they would snicker, like our music was all messed up and all the rest of it, you know. But Africa morning, when we kicked off, and I look at those same fellas were dancing like this. I say, what is this? I'd never seen that before, right?
The group in the road for about 15 minutes, just Tom.
Everybody said, what happened? The bass going home, mate. They said the bass going home.
When Rory Saunders don't come to that fire and say move, I don't move. And I'd learned from that same morning. You know, Zach will come, this one will come and say, yo, let's go. We'll go there, stand up, half hour, 45 minutes. So when I went out there, Rory said, why y'all out there? I said, they call us. Rory said, no, y'all go back, yeah? I can come for you. And times he probably, with Bubbles lining up the front of the group. What happened was when he reached, the group was not ready to kick over. See, with me, with my leadership in one family, I don't line up bass drummers every night. When I first started my Junkanoo season, and where I put you, ain't no more arguments about that. And I don't go to practice every day to line up a group. Notice when I come to practice, I go to the fire, I get my drum, and I put my drum where it's supposed to be. Everybody's supposed to do the same thing. And that's, we adapted that, everybody do the same thing.
When the group turn on, except that here, because Rory ain't come first yet.
Yeah.
So they tell them, the tom-tom drummers, don't stop beating.
And you know the good thing about that is, when everybody come, they go on right in.
Right in the song. I ain't gonna...
Do. Yeah, but when that bass kick over, that was it.
So what it did for us that morning, when we were late as bass drummers, everybody know where they're supposed to go. So we dropped, it was like the helicopter dropped us right in place. And immediately I throw up. And when that turnover,
all the bass street stopped.
They had do.
Yeah,
Do. Nigga said, when did they stop? They said, when family stop?
Yeah. It was something new.
I know.
Don't worry about them, they break down, they make the
That's the lead. Yes,
Yeah, it was something new.
and everybody dancing and everybody getting on.
And then when we got to Charlotte Street, just a few feet into the gate, one of the leaders of the valley came up to me. We hadn't even passed Rosen Square. Say, man, y'all won this one, you know? And I say, man, this is what it feels like, you know? When you win a parade and nobody argues, you know? It's just very, very clearly a winner. And that morning we were outstanding. So that was when I noticed that a lot of people were wearing One Family t-shirts, you know, that you had never seen before, you know? In fact, I had been in the shack deep in those days, you know, and I thought I knew most people. And I was walking out on Bay Street one day, and I saw this fella with a One Family t-shirt. So I say, oh, you One Family? So, you know, he turned to me and he said, yeah, that's us. You know, and I never saw this fella before, you know. So I say, yeah, we reach.
That was the first time in 20 years that a group other than the Saxons or the Wally Boys had won a Boxing Day Junkanoo parade. Jackson, Burnside, and I were the last two members of One Family leaving Bay Street, and we walked back to Taylor Street. When I got in Taylor Street, what would forever resonate with me is this. I mean, the road was just full, but I didn't see the people in the road. You know who I saw? I saw Miss Bastian, Darren's grandmother. I saw Miss Davis. All of the elderly people in the road jumping up and celebrating. And I realized then what One Family meant to the community and to them. And they shared in that joy. And I realized then even if we wanted to turn back, we couldn't turn back because we had become an integral part of the community. And they had, all I saw was the pride, the jubilation in those elderly persons. And you know, I'm happy that they got to experience that because all of them have gone home to glory. So, you know, they had that opportunity.
One family would have went from 1 to 10 and off the shoulders. And music, they won just everything that morning. I think that's the only thing he might have lost or got second in. But that would have been the turning point for one family. It was a clean sweep, pretty much. You know, that was that Bubbles influence that year.
We allowed Six Pack to use my father's office as a shack. You know, the entire neighborhood, a lot of whom were still Saxons, were there. But this morning, the Saxons won. And my wife and my daughter had been to Bay Street, and they had come over the hill to my mother's house on the Fort Hill next to the Six Pack shack. All the way up the street, this Joneser gal, right? She just dancing, boy. Saxons! She just dancing. She saw us, you know, so she just dancing past us, boy. And when she got right next to us, she said, "Oh, it's a good thing y'all can make cake, because that's all you got now. Saxons!" And I never saw my mother laugh so hard, because she knew this girl, you know.
We had the whole neighborhood used to come out in the front of the shack and just cuss all day, all night. And but in what, 4th, 5th year, man, we had the whole hill. The whole hill was on our side.
The whole hill was on our side.
Yeah.
After we got that first win, that was it. Everything changed.
Speaking of fans and supporters,
the next year, right, one family won. And that same girl came down with a Warrior t-shirt on. Warriors! You know? So, you know, that's the way it was.
One family, under the guiding hand of its third chairman, Darren Bastian, despite having continued the upward trend set by his predecessors, had not officially won a parade since Boxing Day 1999. After a few close second-place finishes over the past 3 years, the group was in turmoil, but the young Maverick had a remedy for that.
A lot of the members of our group have been offered, I guess you'd call it compensation for work that you can't pay for. You can't pay for Junkanoo. I don't care what they say. And when we examined our group earlier this year, we saw what we had left. We knew that those people that stayed with us wanted to be with us because they loved our group. They loved what we stood for. And, you know, it's the victory on Boxing Day is a testimony that some things money can't buy. Money can't buy love. It can't buy loyalty. You know, so, and it can't buy your heart.
We went through a difficult time that year because a large segment of our entire group had left. A lot of our designers, a lot of our, you know, people who did major things in our group had left. And it was a very trying year. And I remember going into a general meeting because the entire group was very concerned about what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Mine and half of the group going, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna break up? And we were in this meeting. And you know, the Lord speaks to you in a certain way sometimes, right? And the Spirit came and said, you know, tell them the heart of a warrior is not for sale. I said, I ordered 200-300 gold shirts. Uncle Stan designed the shirts and we put the thing on the back. The heart of a warrior is not for sale. We lined up on Bay Street, or it was on a Saturday evening. Bay Street was gold. Everybody had that shirt on. And I think that was the impetus that sparked that victory. Because from then, the entire group was on a different tangent, on a different high. And we had an answer for them.
What was so amazing with America Morning, you have people from other groups, you know, wearing the world red, white, and blue could win no parade. That's all they were saying, but they didn't really know what America was all about.
Well, after winning with America, and we came up with the funeral, they said we can bury the dead. We went out there and we perfect the funeral to the extent that
No Junkanoo will never be that great again. The funeral is outstanding.
After winning back-to-back parades, Boxing Day 2002 and New Year's 2003, one family was showing up on every radar. Heading into the 2003 Boxing Day parade, they were supremely confident and going after the three-peat.
We're in a comfortable position. You know, we're 6 both mornings. It's interesting to note the coincidence of 6 and 6. You know, Proverbs 6 and 6, go to the aunt thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, is the motto of one family. Now, we didn't pick that. Other groups picked that. Other groups went into the basket and they pulled out the numbers and they left for us 6 and 6. And we take 6 and 6 and we are wise. And we are going to come into the market and we're going for the jugular from the minute we kick off.
If you let one family get away today, they'll be in plenty trouble New Year's, because one family will come stronger. You can keep eyes on them. There's a threat this morning.
Despite their preparation, performance, and voracious appetite to win, the judges still held the final say, and they had other plans.
I thought we had a good chance to win in '95 when we did the fish, which was the best presentation to probably ever hit Bay Street, but it finished second.
You look at the scores, especially on Boxing Day, 90% of the time one family in first place after the first lap. But then when you go around to the Valley crew, who would be judging next time?
On the back,
yeah, they shot. They put a karate chop on it.
Yeah, they put it on.
What?
We sure get the record for seconds. They can say we have a bunch of record for the fourths, but they ain't gonna never say nothing in them seconds. And we sure we do something. No, they ain't no second, but we get them. They still on the record book.
Definitely Angel morning ain't no second.
No,
Indian morning ain't no second.
And
Bahamas morning ain't no second.
But one of the most hard volcanoes for New Year's morning though.
It's Mexico. When we swore we won that parade. And they rob us.
You see what Saxons are, pirates.
Nasty pirates.
Mexico morning.
I'm telling you, man.
Cheapest, man. And it was only 10 of them at the time. So we were awesome. Our team was executed perfectly. That would have been one family first New Year's parade where we were actually prepared front to back. You know, usually sometimes on a New Year's Day parade we go there scrapping. But that Mexico morning we were awesome. We should have gotten the win, but of course, you know, had cheating go on Bay Street. They always robbing us.
I respect the judge in a way, but they always just rob one family when it comes to music and parade, man.
I didn't know what was going on. I had a Saxon friend tell me, say, he was going to work that evening over the bridge. And when he heard the Saxon, he almost gone over the bridge. Man, actually over and the sea.
For New Year's, our spirit is still exceptionally high because we knew, and everybody knows, if you take a poll in this country today, I guarantee you that 95% of people in this country will tell you that one family was the champions on Bay Street.
Everybody knew. When one family come with them, that's something you have to see. You have to get up. The Valley and Saxon fans, get up. The Valley intimidated, the Saxons intimidated. All right? Roots intimidated. And they know that one win can lead to 5 or 10.
We could call off a few parades where they robbed us, especially that one was just gone.
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day 2019.
Yeah.
But
Boxing Day 2019
Brazil
was such a robbery that we actually got penalties for something that happened at night when our first lap started first thing in the morning. Daylight.
Yeah.
that wasn't reversed.
Yeah.
So that was like highway robbery right
Brazil.
there.
They robbed us with Brazil.
If one family won what they supposed to win, you know how much trouble that would have caused other groups internally as far as members. That would have been chaotic.
They rob us but you can't rob us to the point of, like, I guess, pulling out our spines. And so I guess that's why we're the group with the most consecutive seconds on Bay Street. Definitely.
And they cannot stop it talent-wise because we have all the talent. So they have to do it another way.
We were robbed a couple of years, but we didn't go out and complain about getting robbed. We just continued to participate.
A part of being a warrior is facing adversity and figuring out a way to overcome it. In going to the Ant, one family had to examine the landscape of Junkanoo and use new and innovative techniques to afford themselves every advantage they could to get back on top.
Everything that we've ever done, somebody says has been there before, until they see one family do it. There's no question there isn't another group in all of Junkanoo who are as creative, as imaginative, as innovative as one family. And when we come to the market, they are always shocked. When we brought the angels, they were shocked. When we brought the fish, they were mesmerized. When we brought Africa, they were annihilated. One family does not play. When we bring a theme, it's a new education. I hear some fellas talking about university and that they trained us in the university. Well, you know, let them know that the students are now teaching the professors, and there will be a new lesson on Bay Street.
We have always been a group that's built on innovation, right? And, you know, like I said earlier, we don't think in and out of a box. We create boxes and we create space, right? So, you know, the thing about our design team is, like, you know, you put anything on the table. Anything on the table. And it's not, boy, we can't do that. It's like, boy, how we can do that though? And then you focus on the how, not the, boy, we can't. You know, the how is what continues to drive us.
A most iconic morning for one family occurred on Boxing Day 2007. Their first win since the back-to-back victories in 2002 and 2003. After placing second in consecutive years, they knew that it would take a mind-altering performance and a secret weapon to reclaim and secure their title as world champions.
That was the first time I ever saw Bay Street like stood up for us, because like I said, many years before we was rushing, the people was like, oh, one family, sit down. But that was the first time I ever saw Bay Street actually react to us.
One family brought the element of surprise, they brought the passion and the acting and the performance elements that one family brought during that parade was just awesome. The audience, the members themselves, it just was a different level as it came to presentation.
If you can remember, our third lap, we came straight back around on Bay Street and it's like, what we getting home? And it's like, you go home, you can lose the parade. We didn't have this in the bag, and we came straight back around and I got to do that quick lap on Bay Street, that quick third lap on. That was it.
The backline was really good that morning. I can still remember our whole playlist and how we played them.
That morning everything going right. I remember the helicopter with
the helicopter came
Darren. And he was just, he was the hype man that morning.
It blew me on. Because I don't forget that morning when I get to Bay Street, you know, and I saw these guys in blacks from DU, whatever. I said, these fellas are, I didn't know they had the chopper. I mean, I didn't know nothing of it. That's how they keep that so down low. So I can remember when I get on Bay Street in the front of the straw market, they could hear the folks saying, where they going that big sitting duck? Because I didn't know it could do what it was going to do anyhow. So I was saying that in my mind too, this big sitting duck. Until that take off, eradication, I said, man, this one over, man.
Haha, tricky, tricky, tricky.
I can share the story with the helicopter, right? So, you know, we came off, we number picking it just ended. And you know, we saw the lineup, and I said, boy, that's a strong lineup. And I said to Silver, I said, boy, Silver, we got to fly, boy. He said, Chum, what you talking about? I said, boy, we got to fly, but I can figure it out. And I remember making a call to Chris Price. I said, Chris Price, I need a particular device. He said, Chairman, man. He told me where to go. He told me who to go see. I went, the fella had the device. I said, I need that. He called somebody, said, we need X amount of dollars to get that. $4,500, right? And then we were in the shop. And I said, nah, you know, the rules say you can't have any machines on Bay Street that's motorized. So me and Arlen, I think, and Rory may have spoken about it. I said, don't worry about that. I got that figured out too. right? Right? I know I needed another particular instrument. Dennis Charlo, the chairman, you need such and such and such a thing. I know where we can find it, but it can take a little something to get it. Right? If I tell this story, I can't tell the whole story, right? So we had the two pieces we need, and we knew that if we were challenged, how we would beat the rule. So then the helicopter was born. 4 days of work, and I think that made all the difference in that parade. So that attests to the level of innovation and quote-unquote stupid thinking that we do in our group.
And now, a lesson in creativity from an iconic Frontline member that draws from that same inspiration to put on the show, within the show.
People ask me, how do I come up with the creativities? To be honest with you, once I get the theme, and you see the Junkanoo season start, I dream. I dream and I dream and I dream. And when I wake up, sometimes I have a costume.
One costume in particular took her on a scavenger hunt before she could get to be.
I didn't know what I was going to do when they did that theme. And then I remember Rico ran past me and said, Rita Mali. And the idea sifted in my head. Okay, it's Rita. My name is Rita.
After borrowing a piece of material, she was one step closer to the parade.
Girl, I got something to tell you, but I put some beads on the costume. And she said, you put some beads? So I said, yeah, I put some beads on it. I put plenty. That time, if it was another space to put beads, it would have been good. So she said, but just take a picture. So I took the picture. She said, oh, it looked good. So I said, oh, Jesus, are good now. Good.
Then it was Christmas night, but the look was still incomplete.
I went all around asking people, Africans that I knew, to find out how do they tie these African hair bands. And I was trying. I bought so much cloth. I bought this cloth. I bought a piece of plastic. That didn't work. The night before the parade, I went down in my mother's room. She had this green Christmas bag, and I said, I need this. I cut the bag open, and that is what I made my headpiece out of.
Although she made it downtown, she still wasn't done accessorizing it.
I said, man, let me this one. And it was a big, long cane. And I tell the man I was going to bring the cane back to him. You know what happened? The Jeep that the cane was in got stolen, so I never was able to give the man back his cane. Rita Mali costume was one of the most exciting ones. If I pick a costume, I would go and find out if it's a dog or if it's a bird or what it is. And then I just find one step that I like, and I would do that straight across the parade. Gorilla Deville, I was doing the dog, right? And people, I would go to practice and practice those steps, and people would be looking at me funny, but I don't really care because I tried to figure out what I could bring to Bay Street in the morning.
If you learn nothing else, it's pretty easy to see that.
One family is to go to train right now. One family can be the dominant and the rest to come and it's showing. They can be the group.
Them girls are very dynamic. They're very powerful. Nobody touches them. Nobody touches them.